There's a lot of, I guarantee you, most women will for a man.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, stop breaking hearts and, like, really settle. You
Lock
don't have
it
to
in.
settle down and be boring. Life can still be fun when you're in a relationship. So,
I think that also comes with, like, maturity. Like, some men can't break that cycle of when you're your 20s, your 30s, or whatever, and you're out and you're partying and you're chasing women and you're drinking and you're doing all that. Some men kind of stay in that world.
Yeah.
And if you stay in that world, you're not going to find more times than none, you're not going to find a good quality woman or just a situation, because you're always revolved around whatever it is.
The internet is in absolute chaos right now because the one thing nobody ever saw coming just happened. Chris Brown is raging after the shocking news that his ex, Karrueche Tran, allegedly tied the knot with none other than Deion Sanders. And if that wasn't enough to make jaws drop, word in the streets is that she's pregnant with twins. Yes, twins. This isn't some quiet family update. This is the kind of Hollywood twist that leaves fans glued to their screens, refreshing every second to catch the next bombshell. And while many are congratulating Karrueche for finally stepping into a chapter of love, stability, and new beginnings, Chris's reaction has turned the celebration into a whole new storm. His anger has been boiling for a while, throwing shade at Karrueche and Deion whenever he got the chance. But now things have officially exploded, and his meltdown is unfolding in real time for the world to see. Before we dig deeper into this drama that's threatening to break the internet, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for the latest in Hollywood scandals, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story is about to get wilder than anyone imagined.
Karrueche. Almost 5 years. It's been like 4.5 years.
I've seen you embrace her a lot more on social media. You put up these cute pictures of, like, her at 7-Eleven, just random little photos.
Yeah, she's straight, man. I dig her.
Yo, he blushing. Look.
I dig her, man. She dope. You know, I feel like, you know, when you, especially being in this industry, you just need somebody that understands you and, you know, understands who you are.
So let's get into it. Chris Brown is infamous for finding ways to keep himself in the headlines, whether it's through his music, his feuds, or his very public meltdowns. But this time it's not about an album drop or beef with another artist. It's about his personal life, specifically his obsession with his ex. And the one thing that's been consistent with Chris is that he never truly lets go of past relationships. He has a habit of circling back to his exes, firing off subliminals, and making it clear he hasn't moved on. With Karrueche, it's been a years-long pattern. From the moment they broke up, he's continued to shade her, stalk her, and insert himself into her life despite her moving forward. But this latest development, her marriage to Deion Sanders and a pregnancy, has reportedly pushed him into a full-blown meltdown. Fans say he's been spiraling online, dropping cryptic messages, liking posts that allude to regret, and even firing off lyrics in his songs that many believe are still about her. This isn't just heartbreak, it's obsession, and now it's playing out in the ugliest way possible. Now let's talk about the marriage rumors that set this entire thing ablaze. For weeks, whispers started making the rounds online that Karrueche had taken her relationship with Deion Sanders to the next level, but fans didn't believe it until they started piecing together the clues. The biggest one, a shiny ring on her finger that had people convinced she wasn't just dating anymore, she was married. And it wasn't just about the ring. Insiders claim the couple had decided to keep their romance under wraps, choosing privacy over publicity, which only fueled the speculation. When photos and clips began surfacing, showing Karrueche wearing what looked like a wedding band, the internet went wild. Fans who have followed her journey from heartbreak to rebuilding her life were quick to point out how different she seemed, happier, grounded, and unbothered. And while most people were ready to celebrate her fresh start, there was one person who wasn't ready to clap for her, and that was Chris Brown. Because the confirmation of her secret marriage didn't just prove she'd moved on, it proved she'd closed the door on Chris for good. But if the marriage whispers weren't enough to shake things up, the pregnancy bombshell absolutely flipped everything upside down. Reports started swirling that Karrueche isn't just married, she's expecting twins. Yes, double blessings. Sources close to the couple claim that after Deion's recent cancer scare, both he and Karrueche decided they didn't want to waste any more time. They wanted to start a family and embrace life together, and twins were the outcome. For fans, this news was both shocking and heartwarming. After all, Karrueche has been through so much, from public breakups to being dragged in Chris's scandals, so seeing her embrace motherhood with someone who seems to love and value her has people rooting for her. But on the other hand, this news reportedly sent Chris into a tailspin. women. The idea of the woman he still pines for not only being married, but also starting a family with another man was too much for him to handle. And instead of staying quiet, Chris started dropping subliminal shade online, making it clear he wasn't handling the news well at all. One thing fans can't stop talking about is the way Karrueche supported Deion during his cancer battle. When he revealed his diagnosis and his upcoming surgery, she wasn't just quietly in the background. She was there, front and center, emotional and deeply involved.
We are at the hospital because we are dealing with we were dealing with bladder cancer. And he is having his bladder removed, and they will create a new bladder with one of his intestines. And this option was, I guess, the best because it fully removes the cancer to ensure that it doesn't come back, because it was close to his muscle. So yeah, we are here to fully remove the bladder.
Texting the boys. It's their first day of practice today, and I'm excited.
She accompanied him to doctor's appointments, stayed by his side during treatments, and even broke down while speaking about how difficult the journey had been. She didn't frame it as his fight. She framed it as their fight. She made it clear that she was standing with him no matter what. That kind of loyalty doesn't go unnoticed, and fans couldn't help but contrast her behavior with her past relationship with Chris, where she was often left hurt and betrayed. Seeing her step into this new supportive role not only strengthened her bond with Deion, but also proved that this relationship was built on something solid. It might not have been a traditional love story, but for Karrueche, it was real, and it brought her closer to the man she now calls her husband and the father of her twins. Of course, Deion Sanders comes with his own baggage. He has a long history of messy relationships, from divorcing his first wife Carolyn Chambers after 3 kids to marrying Pilar Bigger Sanders and then dragging her through court battles over custody, painting her as unfit. Then came a long relationship with Tracy Edmonds, which ended with him calling off their engagement after more than a decade together. His track record had many fans worried that Karrueche might be setting herself up for another heartbreak. But despite all the warnings, she seems genuinely happy with him. She's standing by his side, and he appears to be embracing her in a way that Chris never did. While critics are skeptical, others believe people can change and that maybe Deion found his stability later in life. Whatever the truth, Karrueche looks confident in her choice, and at the end of the day, it's her happiness that has fans saying, if she's happy, we're happy. But we can't talk about Karrueche's new love story without revisiting her stormy past with Chris Brown. Their relationship, which began in 2011, was messy from the start. Chris was already entangled with Rihanna, and Karrueche quickly found herself caught in the middle of a love triangle that played out publicly. Chris couldn't decide between the two women, even releasing a bizarre video where he admitted to loving both at the same time. Karrueche, despite all the red flags, stuck around, only for history to repeat itself over and over again. From cheating rumors to rehab stints, arrests, and public fights, their relationship was a constant cycle of drama. Fans watched in disbelief as she gave him chance after chance, only for him to betray her again. It was toxic, unstable, and eventually completely unsustainable. Yet Chris never truly let her go, and to this day, it's obvious he still hasn't. The breaking point in their relationship came when Karrueche discovered that Chris had fathered a child with another woman, Nia Guzman. And the worst part? She found out the same way the world did, online. That betrayal was the final straw for her. She fired off a tweet announcing she was done with the drama and officially single. From there, she began putting her energy into rebuilding her career and her personal life, distancing herself from Chris and his chaos. But Chris didn't take the breakup well. He stalked her online, showed up at her house, and even harassed her friends. Things escalated so badly that in 2017, Karrueche was granted a restraining order after testifying that Kris had threatened to harm her and even made death threats. It was a terrifying chapter that highlighted just how toxic and dangerous their relationship had become. Despite the restraining order and years apart, Kris's obsession with Karrueche never really went away. The moment the order expired, he was back to commenting on her posts, liking her photos, and inserting himself into her narrative. He even used his music as a way to keep her name alive, writing songs with lyrics that seemed directed at her, and performing on stage with symbolic props tied to their past. It was like he couldn't function without reminding the world, and Karrueche herself, that she was still on his mind. Fans called it out for what it was: obsession, desperation, and an inability to move on. And now, with her building a new life with Deion, his behavior has gone from obsessive to downright unhinged. Most recently, after news of Karrueche's marriage and pregnancy broke, Kris allegedly went as far as offering to help raise the twins if she would take him back. Fans were floored by the desperation, calling it one of the wildest moves he's ever made. Offering to step in as a father to another man's kids isn't just odd, it's a clear sign that he's struggling to accept reality. Add that to the subliminals, the online shade, and the lingering obsession, and it's clear Kris is unraveling right before everyone's eyes. With Rihanna happily moved on, and now Karrueche doing the same, Kris looks like the one who can't stand to see his exes win without him. And that's exactly why this drama is hitting so hard, because it's exposing just how much control he's lost. And now the big question is, what happens next? Will Karrueche respond to his antics? Will she shut the door completely? Or is Kris going to keep spiraling until he forces her hand again? Fans are watching closely because if history is anything to go by, Kris doesn't let go quietly. The stage is set, the players are in position, and the next chapter of this feud is guaranteed to be explosive. One thing is for certain, Karrueche has moved on, and Kris just can't handle it. But what's unclear is how far he's willing to take this obsession before it crosses a line again. And if that happens, this story won't just stay in the blogs. It'll be back in the courts, front and center for the world to see. But as if things weren't already chaotic enough, fans are starting to wonder if Kris's behavior isn't just about jealousy, it might also be about ego and image. For years, Kris has been painted as the man who always had women falling at his feet, no matter how many scandals or controversies he found himself in. Seeing Karrueche not only reject him, but also build a life with someone else, especially a man like Deion Sanders, who comes with fame, money, and legacy of his own, is striking a nerve. It's like watching his power slip right out of his hands, and for someone who's used to being in control, that loss is unbearable. That's why the subliminals feel less like heartbreak and more like desperation, an attempt to claw back at least a little piece of influence over her life. But the reality is that influence is gone. Karrueche has grown, matured, and leveled up in ways Kris never expected, and his inability to accept that is why he's unraveling. Fans see it, the industry sees it, and most importantly, Karrueche herself sees it. And that makes the meltdown even more pitiful in the eyes of the public. And now the wildest theory circulating online is that this meltdown could spark another round of public feuds, not just between Kris and Karrueche, but potentially pulling Deion himself into the mix. Imagine Kris throwing subliminals in songs while Deion, who's known for his confidence and sharp tongue, decides to fire back. That's the kind of Hollywood drama fans live for, but it's also the kind that can get very messy, very fast. People are already speculating whether Kris might use his music to take more direct shots, or whether Deion, tired of the noise, might confront him head-on. And if that happens, this won't just be another celebrity breakup saga, it'll turn into a full-blown public war between a music superstar and an NFL legend. The stakes are higher than ever, the emotions are raw, and the players involved are all too familiar with the spotlight. One thing is guaranteed, whatever comes next, it won't be quiet, and it definitely won't be boring. The saga is just beginning, and fans are buckling up for the chaos that's about to unfold.